This is Designer AM. I'm doing a series advocating for disabled foster kids. This is video number 2 on loneliness. Children in foster care are surrounded by so many children. When you first go into foster care, it's overwhelming. Coming from a small home, I was an only child specifically, but the other kids had 1 or 2 siblings usually, to having 30, sometimes 50 kids in one house, during shelter, during residential treatment. Also, some of the homes had 10 to 15 kids. All of this was very overwhelming. It affected our sleep. It affected our day-to-day activities. And at first, you're it's more interactions, more social than you've ever had. You can't sleep. You're talking at all times of the night. It's like a slumber party. It never stops. Weeks later, but then it becomes mundane. It becomes like the kids change in and out. It becomes sad. These people that you thought might be your friends forever, they're really helping you endure and get through these tragic, awful experiences. Ends up they just cycle out one after another, and it becomes even more lonely. They aren't permanent. Your home ended up not being permanent. Maybe it's just a temporary stay. Maybe you're going back. Maybe you're hoping to go back any day. And you think these friends have your back, but they're in the same experience. They're just there temporarily. They don't know when their caseworker is going to show up and tell them to pack their things up, when they're going to find a forever home, when they're going to be moved to placement after placement after placement. You meet 10 to 15 kids per placement. Sometimes you move once a year. Sometimes you move once every 2 to 3 years. Sometimes you move every month. It becomes overwhelming in the opposite way. Even though you're surrounded by people, you're absolutely alone. Nobody knows what you're going through. Nobody understands your grief. Nobody understands your depression. Nobody understands your moods. You have to explain it over and over and over again. It's ostracizing. You're not part of them. You're not part of us. You're not together on anything. This person is experiencing their mental health problems, their trauma, and you are miles away, even though you're in the bed next to them. It gets so hard. You love your brother and sister, your foster brother, your foster sister. You do your best to be a good big sister, a good little sister, whatever it is. You try to show up in your family. You try to show up in your school. You try to take care of your work. And there's so much pressure just growing up for everyone. But even more so when it's not your family. It's not your school. It's the 3rd school you've been to this week. It becomes so burdensome. And even though you're trying to process all of this, these families don't really need more burdens. They're overburdened. The system is overwrought with children. There's tons of them. Someone comes in to replace the one that just left within hours most of the time. It's really, really hard and lonely to be in foster care as a child. And if I could advocate for the children, it would be about loneliness and how to tackle loneliness in foster care. Thank you for listening.